Hi guys, Toby here with a new video, and this video will be a video towards a lot of people are actually talking with me and actually asking me like why am I not really playing Wrath of the Lich King Classic while I'm really loving Wrath of the Lich King Classic, and why I'm not really making a lot of videos about that expansion pretty much. I'm going to say a few points on what I really love about Wrath of the Lich King. Pretty much, I think it is one of the best expansions, first and foremost. I think if you're thinking about an expansion for PvP, you're thinking about Wrath, thinking about Mist of Pandaria, Cataclysm, Wall of Draenor, to a certain extent, I guess, Shadowlands and Dragonflight, because of the vendors being back and the easiness to actually gear up. Although Shadowlands had a lot of like grinds towards honor, it was still easy to get gear compared to Legion, BFA, or whatever expansion there was. Like for example, in vanilla, PvP gearing was not possible, for example, or at least you had to commit a lot of playtime towards it, and so it was not really like something that you're going to do purely like skill based. So Wrath of the Lich King as a whole expansion from 3.0 to 3.3.5, that expansion is like great because it was like linear. You had a lot of balancing changes for PvP as well. It was very, very cool. Now, why am I not really enjoying Classic? The thing is about Classic is it is an expansion frozen in time. What does it mean? It means that there is no balancing patches. It means that if you have seen the first season of Wrath Classic, pretty much you have seen the whole expansion, except maybe last season with ICC having the legendaries, have like Shadowmourne, having warrior paladins being like very strong because of tier, but it was already the case right now. I think warrior is still one of the best classes in the game because of the availability of warrior, elemental shaman, holy paladin. And what's going to happen in ICC, it is pretty much going to be a warrior, retribution paladin, holy paladin, or warrior, DK, holy paladin. I think holy paladin will stay how it is. You have still disc priest comps with, for example, RMP, that still is going to be existing, but mainly elemental shamans also with affliction warlocks and destruction warlocks still being a thing too. But you have mainly like 3 or 4 comps working, and then you have like a lot of other comps that can also work, but they get crushed because of the meta that is actually available to Wrath Classic without any balancing changes. And I think for a PvPer like me, why I do enjoy a lot of retail normally, now right now retail has a lot of problems, but why do I enjoy retail so much? It is that it is it's not everlasting. It will change if a meta doesn't really is not appealing, or you don't really like it, or you're playing like DK and you are bottom tier PvP. You know that sometime in the future it will change, and comps are going to vary. If a buff towards DH is going to be live, then unholy DK also gets a significant buff because that comp is playable, for example. Or if windwalker are very strong, automatically frost DK becomes a thing for that specific comp. Or for example, I don't know, if elemental shaman and affliction warlock gets like buffed together, they have like insane synergy into like dampening comps, for example. So again, you have things to look forward to, and it will change from week to week, from 2 weeks, from 1 month, from one patch, or from one expansion. And that's the shame I have with Wrath Classic. I think the setting, the overall, I would say, environment is pretty cool. I think Wrath is great because you can basically gear up with honor. You can of course gear up with arena. That's also a problem I will discuss a bit further into the video, but the gearing process is quite easy, although raiding will still be the best gear out there, especially trinkets, although that's not only the only thing. I think like PvP gearing not even be the best items for PvP is quite sad, but that's a whole other discussion again. I think just in general, a PvP competitive game that is like frozen in time will never last throughout the seasons. I think the first season of Wrath Classic was quite hype. I really liked it. We played a lot with my friends. But then we saw like a pretty much the meta, and we were like, again, certain that it will never change. And the thing about like with the metas, people are a lot like smarter, and it's not like you're playing on Warmain, a private server for Wrath Classic, where you can basically hop on any class, any spec, and you can like gear up pretty quickly, because there's an instant level 80 server where you have everything handed to you pretty much, and only your skill is going to be the basis of the rating you're going to progress in. No, here you are pretty much, if you're playing the 3 classes and you do not want to level from 1 to 80, well, too bad, man, you're going to stick to those 3 classes. And it's not like you have like an anti-meta that can be formed, because everyone is playing meta. Why would you dare to try to level something that maybe will work? And still, again, you need other, like 2 other people to do the same thing. Like, for example, if someone is willing to try resto druid with, like, let's say affliction warlock elemental shaman comp, or like an affliction warlock with a frost mage or a fire mage with a boomy, for example, again, you will have to level all those characters up to level 80 and then try it out. And if you like it, that's perfect. If you do not like it, you wasted your whole time to achieve to that like specific comp. And that's why in Warmain you still have like a healthy like PvP population for some reason. Again, I'm not playing on Warmain these days, but whenever I'm like connecting myself to try it out, like a class that I really wanted to try, the pops are instant. You have like a PvP scene that is like breathing again. So I don't know what's the reason. The reason is like the easy access towards those classes, or the leveling being ×7, for example. In Wrath Classic, you do not have that, so pretty much there is one meta and you're stuck into it, except if you're going and willing to put the effort in to actually get back with a character. So that's a huge problem for me. The second problem is also like there is no catch-up mechanic. Like on this druid, which was my main for vanilla, I have hateful gear pretty much, and sometimes some deadly gear, some furious gear. Still have like a eye level 200 mace. We still have like pieces from Naxxramas. To catch up, I will have to like farm a lot of honor, which is not a problem. You will have to do some raids probably, because you will not have the eye level that is high enough, or the HP, the pools, or whatever thing that can actually make people invite you and play games with you in 2s or in 3s or in 5s. You do not have that, so you still have to do raids to get there, and it's not like vanilla raids. Those raids you will have to commit somehow, some way. There's not a lot of pugs running, maybe for TOGC now because it's now out, but again, you will have to raid. While for example in vanilla, you are actually accepted the fact that you do not have the PvP gear being available to buy like right away because of honor. It's pretty much like a grind towards rank 14, for example. So you already accepted in your mind, look, I need to do MC, I need to do the BWL, I need to do AQ, I need to do Nax. And if I get like a rank 14, then it's all benefits, right? If you're still grinding towards that. Like myself, I didn't grind for it. Again, I got like rank 11 on my hunter, and that's it. I really like grinded for it, and then like I decided like, no, it's not worth it, especially for a hunter. So raiding on vanilla is not like as painful as raiding on Wrath. I do not like raiding on Wrath, by the way, and running dungeons as well. People are also super elitists, so they do not invite like people where the eye level is a bit like Naxxramas gear, like phase 1 gear. But that's not only the only problem. The problem is if you have not gained any arena points from the start of the season, like let's say now it's season 3. I think it's season 3, right? Or season 2, I don't remember. So I think it's season 3. Now it's season 3. I do not have rating on my 2s, 3s, 5s. So first and foremost, people that have rating will not invite me because they do not want to waste their rating on me. First and foremost, and second of all, you have no catch-up mechanic. So people have gained arenas since the beginning of the season. They are still set into a course where every week they will get like a fixed amount of arena points depending on their rating that they gained. But me, if I gained like, let's say 2.4k rating in 1 week, it will never ever give me the amount I've lost in the weeks I didn't play. So there is no catch-up mechanic. Like for example, in retail, you have conquest. if you didn't play the first week, the conquest points are going to be added to the second week. So it means that you have like points that you can gain from the first week and the second week, and then the third week. Like for example, if you didn't play for 10 weeks, you will have 10 weeks progression to make if you want to via BGs, arenas, RBGs, whatever activity you want to do. It's easily grindable. It's grindable. You can grind it in 1 day, in 2 days, in 3 days, in 1 week. But there is nothing grindable on Wrath of the Lich King PvP. So it means that if you're behind, you are giga behind. So there's no reason to even queue up for season 3, except if you are super motivated, you have another team like ready to pump and to actually gear you up in raids. And then you're good to go. And still, if you're like geared up with raids, you will lose a lot of resilience. So again, there is a whole picture. You have to make yourself look at it and understand. Also, there is no real cross realm. There is like cross battle tags. So it means that if you are like friended via Battle.net, you can invite each other. So it means that you have to farm discords and you have to farm like Battle.net's tags to actually invite your like people. So if you want to do, for example, LFG, so people are criticizing LFG from retail, but trust me, Wrath of the Lich King LFG is even worse. So for example, I want to do twos. Again, I'm on Earthshaker, right? It's not the best server for PvP. Again, if I want to do PvP, probably go for Pharma is probably better. But again, you will have to spend those pesetas. And I do not have pesetas right now to expand that on a maybe. I want to have certainty, and that's not certainty. Again, you only see the specs they are playing or willing to play, but you don't see the specs they are currently. You do not see the rating they have, except if they are like writing a note, for example, this one, a multi rank 1 Ely, rank 1 block, whatever, right? So there is no information. And again, they're going to invite you, look at your rating, and uninvite you. And yes, choose is somewhat like rewarding in Wrath, because you have like I think a glad title in Wrath of the Lich King. They did give it back with Wrath Classic, while in retail twos is not like something like, again, you can be 2.4k, you can even be 3k, and nobody really would actually give a damn about it. But you see that it's flawed because you only have alliance. Again, I'm like also no changes kind of thing. But I think for PvP, you cannot live a life without changes. You can live without balancing. You cannot live without actual changes towards the population. So again, having the most players possible to invite each other. For example, give cross realm and cross faction. We do not care about the faction anymore. Again, in servers, I think that would give me incentives to play. But right now it's super elitist. Once you have fallen behind, you've fallen behind for the whole season pretty much. You can grind it back if you're like very close to BIS, if you're rated like old war, hard mode or whatever. But again, if you're like me, you didn't raid since Naxxramas because you wanted to play Dragonflight, and now Dragonflight really sucks. It's just a shame. And all of this combined with the problems I said in the beginning of the video, with the problems that is right now, it just makes that the population and the player base is just not willing to play Wrath. And I am not really willing to play Wrath. I'm more willing to play on Classic Era, doing world PvP, just doing BGs for gigs and lols, and have bragging rights on that, and be actually like, again, raiding and getting gear from it, and maybe rank up if they change the ranking system. But I'm not willing to put and spend like time on Wrath Classic with the amounts of cheaters we have in PvP, with the amount of time we will have to put to get like back up to speed, with no real catch-up mechanic. Again, there is no catch-up mechanic. It's, again, do or die pretty much, and pretty much right now it is die. There is no balancing changes. So in an arena setting, again, Vanilla has also no balancing changes, but it's not an arena setting, it's a BG setting, 10v10. So if something is very OP, it doesn't really get noticed that much. It gets noticed, but it's not that much. And gearing also is a lot more smoother than, let's say, in Wrath, where the power levels are very spiky. The same for retail, to be honest. So that's pretty much the reason why I'm not really playing Wrath Classic. While I always preached Wrath Classic as being the Saint Graal of PvP, it is, but if you started at 3.0 and you end at 3.3.5, right now it just is frozen in time. If you actually like mimicked the balancing changes they had from the beginning of the expansion towards the end, I think it would be more smooth. The PvP experience would be more smooth. You have people that would look forward to season 7, season 8, season 9, season 10 kind of things. And right now it is like, look, I've seen the first season of Wrath Classic. I know where it's going to lead. Right now it's still the same meta until ICC with Shadowmourne, and that's it, right? And for me, this is not enough incentive to put like hours into it, get better on it, and actually enjoy myself. Right now it's like not enjoyable. You know who you're facing, like bloodlust teams pretty much. If you don't have bloodlust, you're pretty much like, what are you doing with your life? That's pretty much what the Wrath Classic is. And yeah, you have some comps where you do not really have bloodlust, but they have other USPs. But it's not like the meta is super stale because there is no changes and there is no potential changes and there is no potential comp variation because there will like not happen. And yes, you can have fun in 5s. Yes, you can have fun in 2s. But in 2s, it's this unholy DK holy paladin life or unholy DK disc priest life. That's pretty much what you're going to face like 24 hours out of 7 days. But anyways, this is pretty much my rant. I know like a lot of people like asked me about it, and I was someone very excited about Wrath Classic, but the more I played it and the more I realized that balancing changes does make PvP games better. For again, worse. Again, you can balance it's worse than it is right now, but it is still a change. And again, chaos, entropy is something that is very needed in PvP. If you have something that is frozen in time and there is no balancing changes, it will die off. Like imagine Dragonflight without balancing changes for like a year or two. It's impossible. You would just not play it anymore after 2-3 months because it is just not meant to be like in PvP, to be like frozen in base. Even in CSGO, you still have balancing changes. And it is like, again, a FPS game where whenever you're doing a headshot with an AK, it is still a headshot. But still, you have balancing changes with like spray patterns or damage patterns from different guns. So again, very weird how I think no changes is the downfall of like Classic in general. I think either you make it like a progressive server, like for example from 3.0 to 3.3.5, and you make it like some real-time shit, and yes, there will be a lot of shenanigans, but yes, it will be more exciting. Or you make Wrath Classic Plus and you really balance it out and make it like something exciting from season to season basis. That would be something I would do, for example. But anyways, this is pretty much the video. Hopefully you do understand the feeling I have towards Wrath Classic. Retail is not perfect. Again, I made a lot of videos about that, but I think I wanted to talk about Wrath more in depth and why I'm still playing retail, although it's garbage right now compared to Wrath Classic, although I think Wrath Classic, or at least Wrath gameplay is like 10,000 times better than Dragonflight. The no balancing thing is too big to just ignore, and yeah, and all the problems I said in the video is just like a whole bowl of negativity that can actually not be succumbed with just gameplay being good. So this is pretty much what I said. Again, thank you for watching this video. Really appreciate you. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet. And we'll catch each other very soon in the next video. Have a good day. Bye.